to the North State Breakdown with Benjamin Nguyen. Today, we are looking ahead to the January 14th, 2025 Shasta County Board of Supervisors meeting. This is the second meeting of the year, and notably the second consecutive year for Kevin Cry as board chair. This continuation breaks with a decades-long tradition of rotating the position among supervisors annually, ensuring equal representation of the county's diverse districts. The decision is emblematic of the board majority's consolidation of power, as Supervisors Cry, Kallstrom, and Harmon continue to set the agenda in alignment with former District 4 Supervisor Patrick Jones. Let's review the key items on the agenda. R1. Recognition of Employee of the Month. The board will recognize Ryan Toney, Office Assistant Supervisor for the Health and Human Services Agency, as Shasta County's Employee of the Month for January 2025. Toney is being honored for his professionalism, leadership, and dedication to fostering a supportive and productive team environment. His efforts exemplify the commitment and excellence of Shasta County employees. R3. The H5N1 bird flu virus presentation. This is sponsored by Supervisor Kevin Cry. This agenda item features a presentation from the Health and Human Services Agency on the impact of the H5N1 bird flu virus in Shasta County. The H5N1 virus, while primarily an avian disease, carries both economic and public health risks. Its ability to devastate poultry populations can lead to significant financial strain on farmers and ripple effects like higher egg prices for consumers. While human transmission is rare, the potential for outbreaks highlights the need for vigilance and prevention and containment strategies. What makes this item particularly noteworthy is Supervisor Cry's sponsorship of the item. Cry has a history of downplaying health crises, most notably his opposition to COVID-19 mandates, which he used as a cornerstone in his political platform. At a recent meeting, Cry even joked about Governor Gavin Newsom's declaration of the state of emergency regarding the bird flu.
I have some big news for you. I did talk to Dr. Moo, and even though we are under the state of emergency for the bird flu, we are all safe at this time. So yes, it was touch and go, but Dr. Moo said it's okay. So we're okay right now.
This was an action intended to mobilize resources against the virus. This dismissive attitude raises concerns about whether Cry will approach the issue with the seriousness it demands. Despite Cry's track record, the issue itself is critical. A bird flu outbreak could force the culling of infected livestock to prevent further spread, significantly impacting the livelihoods of local farmers and driving up costs for consumers. Additionally, Shasta County's preparedness for such an event will likely be addressed during this presentation. Key questions will include: what are the county's current plans to monitor and mitigate the spread of H5N1? How will financial resources be allocated to support the affected farmers and ensure containment efforts? What partnerships, if any, exist with state or federal agencies to handle a potential outbreak? Cry's sponsorship at the presentation provides an opportunity to see if his governance aligns with the county's best interests or if he continues to prioritize political grandstanding over substantive action. Residents should pay close attention to this agenda item and consider providing public comment, especially if they are directly impacted by agricultural or economic challenges related to the virus. R4. Proposition 36. This presentation from the Sheriff's Office, sponsored by Supervisor Chris Kallstrom, explores the local efforts of Proposition 36, which reclassifies certain misdemeanors as felonies. Crime is a pressing issue in Shasta County, and Kallstrom has long positioned himself as a champion of public safety. During his campaign, Kallstrom emphasized the need for a new jail to address the overcrowding and resource constraints. However, last year, the board majority, including Kallstrom, abandoned the project due to funding challenges. The county's financial woes, exemplified by the recent $2.8 million settlement to former Captain Crawfaller, continues to complicate efforts to address crime effectively. Proposition 36 could provide valuable tools for reducing crime, particularly amongst repeat offenders, but it may also exacerbate the strain on county resources. With jail overcrowding and an overburdened court system already at critical levels, careful implementation will be key. Now, some key questions to consider. How will the county manage to increase arrests and prosecutions without a new jail? What strategies are in place to balance stricter enforcement with resource limitations? Can rehabilitation and prevention programs play a complementary role in reducing recidivism? Supervisor Kellstrom's sponsorship reflects his commitment to public safety, but the board must ensure this effort doesn't further strain the county's already limited resources. Residents concerned about crime and enforcement should provide input during public comment to ensure their voices are heard. R6. Appointment to the Shasta Mosquito and Vector Control District Board. This agenda item involves selecting a candidate to serve a 4-year term on the Shasta Mosquito and Vector Control District Board. The board must choose between 2 applicants, Philip Kramer and Richard Gallardo. While Kramer brings relevant experience as a former appointee to the district, Gallardo's candidacy raises significant concerns due to his controversial past. Gallardo's record is littered with instances of disruptive and questionable behavior, making his suitability for the role likely contentious. Let's examine key incidents that highlight why this appointment could undermine the credibility and effectiveness of the Vector Control Board. Gallardo has a history of weaponizing citizens' arrest laws to make political statements. In 2020, he attempted to arrest the entire Shasta County Board of Supervisors when they refused to align with his demands to ignore COVID-19 mandates.
I, Richard Gallardo, exercising the authority vested in me as a citizen of the United States, as a citizen of the state of California, and California Penal Code 837, do hereby arrest the following persons for multiple California Code violations regarding a cold virus, using false and misleading pretenses, and calling it a threat to public services or facilities.
Thank you, Mr. Gallardo. 3 minutes.
I am arresting you, ma'am, in Penal Code 837. There is no 3-minute mark. You are under arrest. Okay.
This stunt not only disrupted governance, but also demonstrated his willingness to misuse legal tools for personal or political gain. Recently, Gallardo was involved in an altercation where he pepper sprayed an individual who was delivering legal documents related to a restraining order against him. Such actions reveal a pattern of aggressive and erratic behavior, raising serious questions about his temperament and judgment. Also, footage from an Animal Planet show captured Gallardo lying to law enforcement about shooting squirrels in a residential area.
Hey, my name's Brian Boyd. I'm a game warden fishing game.
Richard.
Richard, nice to meet you. The reason I stopped by is a gentleman across the street, I guess, is claiming he shot some squirrels or something like that. Can you fill me in on what's going on?
I have some squirrel pests that come around once in a while, but
Okay. Did you have a conversation with the gentleman yesterday? And
well, he came over, sure.
okay.
Yeah, he came over and said something about squirrels, and I said, well, they're pests, and I don't want them in my yard.
Did you end up shooting some yesterday
No.
at some point?
No, not recently.
I'm asking you to be totally honest with me. When was the last time you shot a squirrel?
I couldn't tell you.
A week, a day, a month, a year?
A few weeks probably, but
Okay. When you have shot them, what do you usually shoot them with?
oh, just a pellet gun.
Do you mind if I have a look at that pellet gun?
Yeah.
And I'll come in and grab it. So yesterday, you did not shoot any squirrels at all? None?
Well, I shot at a squirrel, but I don't remember. I never hit him.
I'm going to be straight with you. The gentleman has a squirrel over there, and are any of these pellets going to match up with the pellets that are in those squirrels?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I'll shoot towards them, and they'll just run off.
This pellet right here is consistent with the same slope dome pointed pellet. You know, is it a triple axe murder? No. Is it squirrel out of season with no reason? Yeah, it is.
An act that was both illegal and reckless. His attempts to mislead authorities were documented on national television, further calling his integrity into question. In a separate incident, Gallardo and an associate posted private information and case details about a citizen on the public walls of the board chambers as an act of political retaliation. This not only violated the citizen's privacy, but also exemplified Gallardo's tendency to engage in defamatory and inappropriate conduct to target his opponents. Gallardo also disrupted a public vaccine clinic managed by the county by spreading misinformation and interfering with operations. When asked to leave by then program manager Dave Marin, Gallardo later attempted another citizen's arrest.
So I, Richard Gallardo, hereby conduct a citizen's arrest of David Marin by the authority of Penal Code 837. Allegations are Penal Code 148.5, following a false police report.
Directly after the citizen's arrest, Gallardo appeared to be attempting to blackmail a California Highway Patrol commander by threatening to release compromising information if his case wasn't referred to the district attorney.
Well, so the chippies will interview him, and they're going to collect the statements that I have from the witnesses that were there. So they're going to get the stories from both sides, and then they're going to determine if it's something that's worthy to refer to the DA.
Okay.
And I expect them to do that. They really shouldn't drop it at the CHP level, because it wouldn't be very politically.
Right.
Just wouldn't be good.
But as far as
Mr. Alexander, I've got a little push with Mr. CHP Commander Alexander.
yeah.
Push meaning he's done things improperly recently. So I hope if he doesn't want those things to be aired, that he will just push this up to the DA.
In another incident, Gallardo was reportedly fired from his job at CAL FIRE for brandishing a firearm at work, a deeply concerning act that is the perfect example of his history of unsafe and unprofessional behavior in high-stakes environments. The Shasta Mosquito and Vector Control District Board plays a vital role in preventing the spread of mosquito-borne illnesses such as West Nile virus and addressing invasive species. It requires members who can work collaboratively, respect public safety protocols, and prioritize the community's health and welfare. Next up is the consent calendar. Some notable items include C1, budget amendments increasing appropriations by $2.1 million, partly to cover litigation costs. C2, approval of the county claims list totaling $195,090. C3, adjustments to accommodate Homeland Security grant reimbursements. C1 highlights the financial impact of litigation, including the Fountain Wind lawsuit and other high-profile cases, which continue to strain the county's budget. Meanwhile, C3 emphasizes the importance of the state and federal grants in sustaining local emergency preparedness efforts. Next up is the public comment period, an essential part of the Shasta County Board of Supervisors meeting, offering residents the chance to voice their concerns, share perspectives, and hold their board accountable. It's crucial for the public to stay involved, especially as the board considers decisions that impact the community's future. Typically, speakers are allotted 3 minutes to address the board, but under the guise of time efficiency, Supervisor Cry has made a habit of limiting public comment when it suits its agenda. For example, during the January 7th vote for chair and vice chair, Cry reduced speaking time to 1 minute, citing a, quote, stack of cards, despite there being fewer than 10 speakers. Next up is closed session. The January 14th meeting includes 2 significant closed session items, where the board will deliberate behind closed doors without public input. These discussions often involve sensitive legal and personnel matters, and any reportable actions will be announced after the session concludes. First up is R7, existing litigation. The board will discuss an ongoing case of Betty Abbey et al. Versus Shasta County. Details about this case are limited, but its inclusion highlights the county's continued exposure to legal challenges, which have become a persistent issue under the previous board's majority. Whether that changes with the new board makeup remains to be seen. Next up is R8, Public Employee Performance Evaluation. The board will evaluate the performance of the Public Works Director, a critical role given the county's infrastructure challenges. Public participation is essential. Whether you attend in person or submit written comments via email, public participation ensures that the community's voice remains central to governance. Your engagement really does matter. Speak up and make your concerns known. And that's the agenda preview.